We do got ourselves some pretty big news stories. It's mainly state of play stuff because that's right. Even though we're only just a day out from Summer Games Fest, which, quick reminder, I will be doing a reaction stream for Summer Games Fest tomorrow when that goes live. So yeah. But Sony decided to do a state of play yesterday. Don't entirely know why, but they did it anyway. So we're gonna go through. I'm gonna go through all the announcements, everything that they showed off and whatnot. In no particular order, because the article I have pulled up has literally everything in the wrong, like, completely different orders. So the first thing, I'm just gonna go from bottom to top on this here. So they showed off this this like paper game that's similar to Tearaway, called Hirogami. Looks pretty fun. I like the look of the art and all that. I don't know what else to really say, other than the fact that it's being released on September 3rd this year. So if you like origami, I think it's supposed to be a platformer, like a platformer puzzle solver. Again, could be pretty fun. They showed off, and I remember this game when they showed it off at, I think, either the Game Awards or maybe last year's Summer Games Fest, but they showed off gameplay of this game called Baby Steps, which is literally it's another one of those physics-based games, akin to Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, where it's like, I'm sure it'll be fun your first go around, but I feel like on repeated playthroughs, I would just find myself getting annoyed at the whole gimmick. But hey, if you like comedy games and you like physics-based games, I guess this is for you. New Hot Shots golf game got announced. It's called Everybody's Hot Shots. They also showed off that some oh my god. Hold on. I'm gonna look something up real quick. Oh yeah. Yeah, they did announce with this Hot Shots golf game that they're gonna be showing off some they're adding some Namco characters into it, like Pac-Man and all that. I've never played Hot Shots golf. I know it has an audience, so yeah. If you like golf, if you like Hot Shots golf, there you go. Shot off a Digimon game. I'm not particularly interested in Digimon or that whole entire world, but the game's called Digimon Storytime Stranger. It is releasing on PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC on October 3rd. I should also stress everybody's golf Hot Shots. Wow, that's actually what it's called? Wait, hold on. I thought it was Hot Shots Golf. It turns out it's called Everybody's Golf Hot Shots. But anyway, that's being released on September 5th. And Baby Steps, I believe, is September 8th. Yeah. Then after that, and I do remember this game, they showed off more gameplay of Cairn, which I know was shown off at Summer Games Fest last year, where it's another physics-based game, but you're a mountain climber. You can meet other mountain climbers. You can rest on one of those hanging tents that people bring with them. I don't know how you, if you got mountain climbers, I don't know how the hell you guys can handle that. That looks stressful as hell. But it looks pretty cool. I like the sort of cel shaded art style. But that's coming out on November 5th. Then after that, they showed off, okay, so they showed off this pirate game that immediately reminded me of Sea of Thieves, because it's kind of got that same cartoony sort of art style that Sea of Thieves is known for. But this game's called Sea of Remnants. I don't know if it said if it's gonna be a multiplayer co-op game, but it's a pirate game, and not only do you have like standard standard, I don't know what you call them, like British Guardsmen soldiers that you can fight and all that. But they also have sea monsters, like they showed off a mermaid, they showed off a giant crab, like a giant, like, crab monster. I think there was a kraken showed off in the trailer. It looks really cool, honestly. Yeah, it's being made by Joker Studio. It's being described as an ocean adventure RPG slash simulation slash survival building slash turn-based strategy game. However, Joker Studio has another way to describe the game. So this is, by the way, the article I pulled up is from IGN, in case anyone's curious. Sea of Remnants does not have an official release date, that I can find. So we're just gonna have to wait and see, because I guess this was the a world premiere, I guess you could call it. Then another game that showed off that I was actually quite interested in is this game called Sword of the Sea, which I immediately thought was a sequel to Journey, which it's not. It is very much inspired by Journey. You could probably, like, I don't know, it immediately showed off like a desert dune, and you have like a pyramid or mountaintop that you're very clearly gunning for. So it is very obviously inspired off of Journey, and I really liked Journey. I played it once and I enjoyed my time with it. Despite how short the game is, it's a wonderful experience. This game just looks to be that, but even more exciting. The main thing that I'm pretty excited about is the fact that you can go sand surfing on what I can only describe as like, I thought it was like maybe a sword, but it's really just a hoverboard. It's just a fucking hoverboard, which again, it just looks fun, and I can't wait for it to come out. Which is, by the way, Sword of the Sea is launching on PlayStation 19th, and I guess it's going to be available via the PlayStation Plus catalog, game catalog. So yeah. They showed off this game called Tides of Tomorrow, which is a multiplayer game where I can only describe it as like, imagine Waterworld, except more cartoony. But I guess the entire point is that like it's post-apocalyptic. Obviously, you have a bunch of these like floating water, like ocean cities that people live in, and everyone's dying of a mysterious sickness. And we play as what's called a Tide Walker. So it looks pretty cool. Can't wait to see how it plays. Comes out on February 24th next year, being made by Rodin 90. Oh no. Digix Arts is the developer. They're the developers of a game called Row 96, which I've not heard of. And then Bloodstained, we got ourselves a new Bloodstained game coming out. I have yet to play Curse of the Moon or Ritual of the Night, but I've heard they're excellent Castlevania replacements, because obviously Konami hasn't been doing shit with that franchise as of late. So Bloodstained is this kind of like a spiritual successor to the Castlevania series as a whole. I think they're even made by ex-Konami devs who worked on the Castlevania series, so yeah. But there's a new Bloodstained game. It's called Bloodstained: The Scarlet Engagement. I don't know if they said, I think, okay, so it's coming out next year. It doesn't have a definitive release date. All it says is 2026. So there's that. Then you have more gameplay showed off from the new Ninja Gaiden game. Actually, not new. I'm thinking of Shinobi is what I'm thinking of. But there's a... No, wait. No, never mind. No, I do remember this being announced a while back. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. More gameplay showed off of that, as well as an official release date. It's coming out on July 31st this year. And then, another really cool takeaway from the night was that they announced that they will be making a... So Digital Eclipse, I guess, is working with NetherRealm Studios to make the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection with a K. Because right now NetherRealm, not really NetherRealm, but WB ain't really doing so good with the Mortal Kombat franchise, if Mortal Kombat 1 is anything to go by. And so to sort of get into the good graces, we are getting this remastered collection, I can only assume. That's what it is at the end of the day. From what I can understand, it is Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, Mortal Kombat 4, Mortal Kombat Advance, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, and Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition, all in one big collection coming to PS5 and PS4. I can only assume it could also be coming out for PC. I don't see any other reason why it shouldn't. Why it wouldn't be coming out on PC. I'm just making that assumption. I'm not seeing anything here that says it is. So take what I just said with a grain of salt. But I guess the company who's working on this collection, Digital Eclipse, they worked on Tetris Forever and Atari 50, the anniversary celebration. But not just that, they also announced that there's, I guess, more to be added in the future for this collection of Mortal Kombat games. So they already said Deadly Alliance, but from what I understand, I think it's the Game Boy Advance version of Deadly Alliance. I don't think it's the PS2 Deadly Alliance. I could be wrong on that, though. But that does mean, however, we could be seeing an opportunity for the other PS2 games to make a more modern release, along with, you know, Deception and especially Armageddon. Possibly the other side titles. I don't know if they would do Mythology, Sub-Zero, or Special Forces, but I could definitely see them doing Shaolin Monks, since that was like because that was supposed to be like the third game in this sort of like background series that they tried to do, and Shaolin Monks was kind of the better game out of that three. So if anything, I would like to see Shaolin Monks ported over to modern systems. That would be cool. But on top of that, they also announced that it's going to have online multiplayer. So if you guys wanted to play classic Mortal Kombat with your friends online, you can. Not just that, however, it is not just a collection of the arcade versions of these games, but it's also the console and handheld versions of all these games. So if you prefer one version of Mortal Kombat 1 or 2 or 3 over the other, then you got all of them. You got all choices. Really no reason to complain unless they somehow majorly fuck this up. Which I hope they don't, because I like this idea. It's been a long time coming for Mortal Kombat as a whole, and just in gaming in general, because obviously Mortal Kombat, super revolutionary games industry. It's what's basically spawned the ESRB into existence, pushing the limits of how mature you can make a game, which obviously, you know, as we all know, especially in the 21st century and the internet, people have made that have pushed that limit to borderline illegal boundaries. So, and that's all I'll say. Then after that, we have the trailer. So the opening for this trailer looks really weird. So they announced this game called Romeo is a Dead Man, which is being made by Grasshopper Manufacture. Which I feel like I remember seeing Suda51's name being mentioned in this, which wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. My immediate thought looking at this was No More Heroes. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was like the developers trying to do another thing like that. But it looks pretty cool. It's like a 3D action adventure shoot 'em up, if I'm remembering correctly from that. It doesn't have a release date yet. All it says is coming out in 2026. Then after that, we're getting a new installment into the Thief franchise. But unfortunately for those of you who don't like VR games, this new Thief game is a VR game. It's called Thief Legacy of Shadows, or Thief VR Legacy of Shadows. I get why there's a lot of people upset about this, because it has been a decade since the last Thief game came out. So I can see why people would be upset for this. It probably wouldn't have been too bad if this was announced alongside a new regular Thief game. However, I will say, I think a VR Thief game is something that has kind of been like, I wouldn't be surprised if this got released like as soon as VR became a thing. Like, I just feel like it's sort of like a natural step. Whether it's the right step, you have to wait and see. But if you like Thief and you like VR games and you like the idea of a VR Thief game, there you go. And then they announced, okay, so one of the first games they showed off was this game called Pragmata, which I was kind of confused by and worried by. So this is Capcom's next new game that's coming out next year. It looked a little AI-ish. But from what I understand, this game has been in development for like 6 years. And the last update was back in 2023. So I don't think it is. There hasn't been any mention of it being... I think what set people off was that they said it's set in this area called Lunar Station, and you're fighting against the AI of Lunar Station, so that may have been what set people off in the wrong direction. I'm not sure. I have to look, and I'm probably gonna have to do more research in this game, but it looks pretty interesting. But the little girl in the trailer looks creepy. So yeah. But yeah, no, that's Pragmata, set to release in 2026. And the first game, I think this was the first game they showed off, which had me excited very briefly. I thought it was the announcement of a second Tetris Effect game. That turned out to not be the case. It turns out it was a trailer for this game called Lumens Arise, which is a new game in the Lumens series. I've not played Lumens, but it is being made by the Tetris Effect developer. So I'm not, you know, you can see where I may have gotten confused there. Because the music and everything sound very Tetris Effect-y. But it looks pretty neat. I'm not, again, not played a Lumens game, so I wouldn't know what I'd be getting into with that. But it's set, it is set for a release fall of this year. Then moving onward, Astrobot Game of the Year of 2024 is getting 5 new challenge levels, complete with 5 new, you know, callbacks and references to other games. One of them being which, and that's kind of going next on the list here, is Ghost of Yotai. Ghost of Yotai, I don't know why they even put this here, honestly. Because literally it was just a trailer, it was a short trailer for Ghost of Yotai, with at the end of it saying, hey, come back in July for gameplay. So, it was a trailer for a trailer. But I just played through Ghost of Tsushima earlier this year. I very much enjoyed it. I fucking love that game. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. If you haven't played it yet, go play it. It's fantastic, and I'm really stoked for Yotai when that comes out. I think it's set to come out this year. Yeah, October 2nd. But then they showed off some more gameplay for Metal Gear Solid Delta. It looks really cool, along with showing off more Ape Escape stuff called the Snake versus Monkey mode. They also ended off by teasing the possibility of multiplayer, which, hey, I know there's a lot of fans of Metal Gear Online, and if this turns out to be like some big gameplay for big multiplayer news, hey, I guess people have something to look forward to. I think the idea of a Metal Gear Online is pretty cool. Then another big announcement here, Neo is getting a new installment. Neo is a Souls-like game that was made by Team Ninja, and they just announced that Neo 3 is on its way to 2026. And there's a demo that you can play right now on PS5. So if you like Neo and if you like Souls-like games, you go check out Neo. Another really cool announcement is that Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, which I assume is a remaster of regular Final Fantasy Tactics. I've never played Final Fantasy Tactics, but I know that game has its fans. But that is coming out soon on PS5 with the classic and enhanced version. So I guess you could, it's kind of like the Master Chief Collection, how you can switch between the old graphics and the new graphics. And on top of that, one of the cool, I guess one of the newer additions that is that this remaster is going to have fully voiced dialogue this time around. So that's pretty cool. It is set to release on September 30th this year. And I know there's a lot of Final Fantasy Tactics fans out there that are just chomping at the bit to play this remaster. Then after that, they showed off some more gameplay footage of Silent Hill F, the newest game coming out in the Silent Hill franchise. Looks like it's gonna be set in Japan in the 1960s. It is set to release on September 25th this year. I'm not really big into Silent Hill. It's not really my thing, but I know obviously Silent Hill. It's fucking Silent Hill. It's one of the top 5 biggest survival horror games of all time. But then the last thing they showed off that I'm actually pretty excited about, it looks really cool, is the Guilty Gear devs announced that they are working on a Marvel fighting game. I first thought it was Marvel vs. Capcom. That is not the case. It is just a pure Marvel fighting game called Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. It is a tag fighter, and the big thing with this one is that it's going to be 4v4, so you can have you as a player can have 4 different heroes on your team versus another hero 4. They showed off some of the heroes. They showed off Captain America, Iron Man, Doom, Ghost Rider, Storm, and Miss Marvel, I think, was the other one they showed off. But it looks really fun. I've kind of been trying to break back into the fighting game, into the whole fighting game genre, especially after I played Tekken 8 earlier this year. And you know, this just looks incredibly fun to play. But Marvel Tokon is set to release in 2026 for PS5 and PC. And that was the last thing they showed off. The last thing they really did was like go into how this game started development. You can take it or leave it. But I would imagine, right, a lot of what Sony didn't show off here is stuff that they're saving for Summer Games Fest, because one of the rumors that were circulating with this state of play, on top of the usual Bloodborne re-release, remaster, and whatnot, that people like to say whenever there's a state of play, one of the big rumors is that they were going to show off gameplay of the Wolverine game that has been in development, which obviously, given that they mentioned it, it wasn't shown off, but we could potentially see some gameplay of that, potentially a world premiere tomorrow when Summer Games Fest goes live. And like I said, I'll be doing a live stream of that when that happens.